Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum, welcome, guten Abend, konnichiwa, hola. Right, today we are looking at factorizing, and this is the first question. This is from paper 1, June 2019, and you can see from the exam paper on this page there are many questions, and because our focus is on factorizing, we will be ignoring a lot of questions that will be popping up. So here is the first question, which is to factorize 3n plus 12. Have a go. When you're ready, press play, or if you're stuck, press play. So the question is factorize 3n plus 12. So what does factorize mean? So that's key. If we don't know what that means, then we're going to be struggling with this topic. So we have to think about factorizing like factors. So if you think about factors, let's take, for example, 24. What numbers make 24? 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6. So these are all examples of factors. So a factor is a number that goes exactly into another number without any remainders. So 1 goes into 24, 2 goes into 24, 3 goes into 24, 4 goes into 24, and so on. We can also have algebra. So for example, if we have, for example, x cubed, what goes into x cubed? We can have 1 times x cubed. X times x squared makes x cubed. So these are also factors of x cubed, for example. So this is going to help us to factorize this. So if I look at this term now, I'm looking at the numbers first, 3 and 12. I'm thinking, is there a number? Does 3 go into 12? Yes, it does. So I can separate this out. I'll separate this as 3 times n, because that's what 3n means. And 12 is 3 times 4. And now you can see I've got 3 in both terms. So I can take the 3 out. I put brackets in, and I'm left with n plus 4. So that's my final answer. And I can also check by expanding. So let me write 3n plus 4 in brackets. And I can check that this, when I expand it, becomes 3n. So 3 times n is 3n. 3 times 4 gives me 12. So that's a check that I can do. So hopefully you got that correct. Let's go on to the next question. Or just before we do that, here is an analysis that I have done previously on factorization. So this is in Foundation. You can see that it's a paper 1 topic. It's appeared many times. It's also a paper 2 topic and a paper 3. So it appears in both calculator papers 2 and 3 and non-calculator papers. Okay, so let's look at the next question now. The next question, this one is from paper 3. This is from paper 3, November 2020, and we're looking at this part here, factorize 4a take away 6. So press pause and have a go. And if you're done, you can press play. So here is the question, factorize 4a take away 6. So if I look at this, I'm looking for what number goes into both. And I can spot that 4 is 2 times 2. And 6 is 2 times 3. So I can see that I've got 2 here and I've got 2 there. So I'm going to have 2 on the outside of my brackets. And I'm going to have 2a on the inside. Take away 3 is left. So I've got 3 there. So my final answer is 2 bracket 2a take away 3. And again, you can multiply this out by checking that 2 times 2a gives us 4a. And 2 times 3 gives me 6, so minus 6. So that's my second answer. So hopefully you got that right. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to the third question in our pack. And another little quote to help motivate you. Every expert was once a beginner. So if this is new for you, keep practicing so that you can become an expert. Here is the next question. This is from paper 3 of June 2022. And we're going to be ignoring all these parts, and we're just interested in the factorization part at the bottom of the page. So here is the question. Factorize 4p plus 6. So again, factorizing means I'm going to be ending up with brackets. I'm looking at what number goes into both of them. I can see they're both even. So I'm going to do 2 times 2 times p, and I'm going to have 2 times 3. So I can see I've got a 2 here and a 2 there, so I can take that 1, 2 out, and I'm going to be left with 2p plus 3. So that is my final answer, 2 bracket 2p plus 3. And again, I can check. When I multiply this out, 2 times 2 gives me 4p, and then I've got 2 times 3 gives me 6. So that is still correct. Okay, let's go to the next question. Okay, and if you are new to the channel, remember to subscribe to the channel. Here is the next question. This is from paper 1, May 2023. And we're going to skip all these questions to the most relevant part for us, which is there right at the bottom. And we can see it says factorize 8d, take away 6. So press pause and have a go. When you're ready, you can press play for the answer. And so I look at both of the terms. I've got a number term here, 8 and 6. So I'm looking for what number goes into 8 and 6. I can think of 2. 2 times 4 times d. That's what 8d is. Take away, and 6 is made of 2 times 3. And so I can spot 2 is in both terms. So I can take the 2 out. I'm left with 4 times d, or 4d. Take away, got 3 there. So my final answer becomes 2 bracket 4d take away 3. And again, just when you have time in the exam, just check by expanding the brackets. 2 times 4 is 8d, and then you got 2 times 3 gives me 6, and I've got the minus there. Okay, so that's our fourth question of our pack. Let's keep going. Okay, let's look at the next question. This is from paper 1 again, from May 2020, paper 1. We're going to ignore this question, and we're looking for factorizing. So we can see all the way right at the bottom of the paper. There we are, factorizing. So press pause and have a go. When you're ready, you can press play. So this is the question, 15y take away 10. And so we look at the number terms. What number goes into 15 and 10? I can think of 1 goes in, 2 doesn't, 3 doesn't, 4 doesn't, but 5 does. So 5 times 3 gives me 15 times the y. And then you got 5 times 2. So that's what I have. So I've got 5 here, and I've got 5 there. I put brackets on the outside, and so the 5 goes on the outside. I'm left with 3y here, take away, and I've got 2 here. So my final answer is 5 brackets 3y take away 2. And again, when you have time, just double check by expanding. 5 times 3 gives me 15y. Then you got 5 times minus 2 gives me minus 10. Okay, so well done if you got that correct. Let's go to our 6th question of our factorization today. And if you like the video, if you're enjoying the content, remember to share with your friends. Let them also learn just as you are learning. Okay, so this is from paper 1, November 2022. This is our 6th question. So we're going to be ignoring our A. As you can see, that's not to do with factorization, but part B is. So let's do part B. Let me just cover the question. So our question is factorize 6y, take away 5y. Again, press pause when you're ready. Press play for the answer. Right, so for this one, I've got a number term and a letter term. So I've got 6 and y. I can see that nothing goes in between them. So I'm going to keep that as 6 times, but I'm going to separate the y squared. Y squared is y times y. 5 times y here. And so now I can spot that I've got a y here and a y here. So this time it's a letter term. So y goes on the outside, and on the inside is 6 times y, or 6y. Take away, and I'm left with 5. So my final answer is y, bracket 6y, take away 5. And again, I check on the inside of the brackets, there's nothing I can factorize. And if I expand this, y times 6y is 6y squared. Take away y times 5 is 5y. So that's my final answer. Okay, let's go to our next question. Question number 7 of our pack. And the seventh question is from paper 2, November 2023. So we're going to be ignoring this part. And if I'm not mistaken, this is also a higher question as well. Let me just get this focused. So we're going to ignore the first part. And then the second part says, here we are. So press pause, have a go. When you're ready, press play for the answer. Okay, so this one, I can confirm, is also in the higher paper. It's question 1 of the higher paper as well. If you notice the language of this question, this one says factorize fully. So we're going to have 2 factorizations taking place. And you'll notice that this question is worth 2 marks. So similar to before, I look at my number terms. 6 and 15. What makes 6 and 15? So does 6 go into 15? It doesn't. Is there a number that goes into 6 and 15? 2 does, but 2 doesn't go into 15. 3 goes into 6 and 15. So this is going to be 3 times 2, and 15 is going to be 3 times 5. This is x squared, so it's going to be x times x, and this is x by itself. So now if I look at this carefully, I've got a 3 here. So I'm going to put brackets, I'm going to put 3 there. And I also spot I've got x here and I've got x there. So this, I take the x out as well. What am I left with? I'm left with 2 times x, or 2x, plus I've got 5 here. And so my final answer is 3x, bracket 2x plus 5, close bracket. Always double check that. Can you simplify further? You can't. Also expand them out as well. 3 times 2 is 6. X times x is x squared. 6x squared. 3 times 5 is 15. And then you've got the x there, and it's adding. So you've got that, and they correspond with each other. So that's something to do. Also, in case I've seen this classic mistake many times, people will do just the first part. They'll say, okay, 3 goes into both. Take this out, 2x squared plus 5x. But just double check your brackets. You can see you've got x squared here, and you've got an x there, so you can expand this out. So when you take the x out, you'll have 2x plus 5. So that's just a way to check. This is a classic mistake. That's why, if you notice the language of the question, factorize fully. That is the word there to help you remember that. Okay, let's go to the next question. Question number 8 of the pack. So this is a November 2019 exam question, paper 3. So even though we are allowed a calculator, you'll notice that you don't really need to use a calculator. Okay, and similar, look at the language. This question is very similar to the last question. It says factorize fully 9x squared plus 6x. So press pause, have a go. If you're stuck or when you're ready, press play for the answer. So similar to the last question, what goes into 9 and 6? I spot that 3. 3 times 3. I'm going to separate x squared. X squared is x times x. 6 is 3 times 2, and I've got x there. So I'm going to put brackets. I can see I've got 3 here and 3 there, so 3 goes on the outside. I've got 3 and 2, so there's no other number terms here, so plus 2. I've got x here and x there, so that can go on the outside. I've got x left, which goes inside the bracket, and there's nothing else left here. So my final answer is 3x plus 2. And again, I can double check by expanding the brackets. 3 times 3 is 9, x times x is x squared, plus 3 times 2 is 6, and you've got the x, and that matches with that. Okay, so I hope you got that one correct as well. Well done if you have. Let's go to the next question. Here is the next question. This is from paper 2, June 2022. And we're going to the last part of the question, part C. And this is also in the higher paper as well. So this is also in higher paper question 1. Press pause, have a go. When you are ready, you can press play for the answer. So we've got 15x cubed plus 3x squared y. So if I look at my number terms, 15 and 3, does 3 go into 15? It does. So I'm going to write 3 times 5. I'm going to write x cubed out, x times x times x. This is going to be, so I'm going to have my plus 3 times x squared is x times x. And I've got my y here. So I can see I've got a 3 here and a 3 there. X here and an x here. Another x and another x. And there's nothing, no number terms. And I've got x there and y there. So they're all separate. So put my brackets in. 3 goes on the outside. X and x is x squared. So that goes on the outside. And I've got 5x left. Plus I've got y left. So my final answer is 3x squared 5x plus y. And again, double check. When you expand this, does it give you that? Yes, it does. 3 times y gives you 3x squared y is there. And I got to this part as well. So x squared times x gives you x cubed. Okay, well done if you're getting these correct. We're nearly at the end of our session today. If you're enjoying this video, remember to like the video. Okay, here is our next question. This is from paper 2, November 2018. This is our 10th question. We're nearly at the end of our pack today. Okay, press pause and have a go. Okay, so this question says, factorize fully 9b take away 3b squared. So I look at my number parts, 9 and 3. Let me just rewrite this just so that I have more space. So I'm looking at 9 and 3. So I can see 3 times 3 gives me 9. And then I've got times this by b. And I can separate these out as 3 times b. B squared is b times b. And so I can spot, I've got a 3 here and a 3 there. I've got a b here and a b here. So I've got those parts, so I can take them out, 3b. I've got 3 left, take away b here. So that's my final answer, 3b, bracket 3 minus b, close bracket. And now if I expand this, I can see that 3b times 3 gives me 9b, and 3b times b gives me 3b squared. So that is my final answer, and it does match. Okay, so again, well done if you got that correct. We are nearly at the end of our session today. We're on the last question. And so this is from paper 3, November 2017. Press pause and have a go. When you're ready, you can press play for the answer. And so when we're looking at this question, again, similar to before, it says factorize 4m plus 12. So does 4 go into 12? Yes, it does. So this is 4 times m. 12 is 4 times 3. So I can put brackets. 4 goes on the outside. M goes on the inside plus. I'm left with 3. So that's my final answer. 4 bracket m plus 3. And now I just double check. 4 times m gives me 4m. 4 times 3 gives me 12. So that's done. Now this part B says, choose 2 words from the box above to make this statement correct. 5y is something, in the something 3x plus 5y. So we've got expression, equation, formula, identity, inequality, term, factor, multiple. So expression is like this, 5y. Okay, it's also like this as well. So we can keep that. Equation, there's no equation here, so let's cross that out. Formula is like an equation. Again, it's not there. Identity is like that. So it can have 3 lines, so that's not it. There's no inequality sign here, so it's not an inequality. Term, factor, multiple. So we've got this. So 5y is a expression, a term, a factor, or a multiple. Multiple doesn't really apply here. So I've got these 3 terms left. So I can see that 5y is a term in the 3x plus 5y is not a factor, but it's going to be an expression. So you can see here, you might know what these are automatically. So if you did know that, you could just do it straight away. Otherwise, you can just eliminate the words and see which one fits the sentence. And that's it. So well done if you got all of those questions correct. And hopefully what you will have done is you may have made mistakes at the beginning. And by the end of the questions, you would have got them all correct. So well done. Take care, everybody. See you in the next one. Bye-bye. Assalamu alaikum.